Hello guys, welcome back to Luna Sims, where we are going to be going over some tips and tricks that I use when I am building in The Sims 4. So before we get started, don't forget to subscribe, hit that thumbs up for liking the video, and hit that little bell so you don't miss any of the next videos. I am switching over to a stream uploading schedule where you can catch videos on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. If there's any type of video in between, it'll probably be a pop-up video or something of around the Sims has news dropping, and it's something that I want to get across. But those are the days that you can prepare for scheduled posts along Let's Plays, along tip videos like this, or anything from a stream update from what we did before. So let's actually go ahead and get started. I wanted to do this because I've gone into some Sim streams and I've watched some builders, made some friends, and they don't know about some of the tricks and stuff of building. Now, I may miss some that you normally see, or maybe you use that I don't use. So if there's anything that I miss, please let me know and I'll try and make another video, or you can hit me up and I'll explain what you need to do as well. So we're actually just going to go to Newcrest. I'm actually using a save that we use in our community, where I have a Sims me of my community, and we just go in and we play with each other's Sims. So we're just going to click on one of these open lots and we're just going to go straight into building. Now, if you are a part of my Discord or part of my community and you are also a Simmer, I also offer a cheats document where it tells us all the cheats and how to access the cheats bar and different ways. So some of this you can actually get and save it as a document, because sometimes even me, I forget all of the time. So we're just on a simple lot. The first thing that I want to show you is something very simple. A lot of people most likely know it. Some of you might like using it, some of you may not like using it. So you see the grid, the lovely grid that we have in The Sims. It can be helpful, but it can be kind of annoying and in the way visually and manually when we start building. So if you were to hit the button G on your keyboard, it gets rid of that build. Now, FYI, I am going over build cheats and all that usage on keyboard. I do not play The Sims on console, so we will have to have a time to work on that, or I can direct you to someone who does play on console that knows the right buttons for these. So I personally like not having the grid because it hurts my eyes. But if you don't want it and you want to see how your build would look without the grid, you hit G, and if you want it back, you just hit G again. And so it's as simple as that. G, grid, no grid, perfect. So to open our cheats bar in the Sim, you want to hit Control, Shift, and C, and it's going to open this long white bar up top. Now, the cheat that you want to put in, sometimes I feel like you need it, sometimes I feel like you don't. I have gotten in the habit of always putting it in just in case a cheat does not work. You're going to type in testing cheats true, and then it'll tell you that cheats are enabled. So that's kind of like up in the air, because I can put in cheats without putting that in and my cheats still work. But I try and get in the habit of putting testing cheats true, because that way you know all of your cheats are going to work. The next cheat that I like to use is called Move Objects. I'm going to close that real quick. And to close that, you just hit Control Shift C again to open. And then you got to time it just right and to close it. We have testing cheats true on. We could take any item at this moment, and there's not going to be an intersecting issue. So we have our desk here, and now we can grab another desk. And you know how normally when you have a four thing grid and it would turn red that you couldn't put that there? And now we can put that there. We can put this next to it. We can put this over here on it. Now, can the Sim get to that? No, it's not going to get to it properly. So we could make things look very, very interesting here if we wanted to do anything of the matter of the sorts. The next cheat that I'm going to show you is going to be a Move Objects. So the Move Objects, what it's going to do is, you know this lovely snap grid that it gives us and we want to snap to? We're going to do bb.move objects on. and the Move Objects cheat is on. And so now we will be able to hold down our Alt key, and now we can excuse the grid. Now we can put these items any weird positioning that we want. That grid, like I said, is gonna come handy sometimes. Sometimes we don't want to put it directly on the grid of the solid points, but we want to use the dash lines instead. Another trick that I want to show you, you don't need a cheat for this, but when you're building Sims 4, I personally prefer the Sims 4 camera. I feel like I have a lot more free use and free hand of it, but some of us do miss the ability to turn an object with the Sims 3 camera. So if you want to rotate an item 360 degrees, because so far with the Sims 4 camera, like I can't rotate an item. I can't click on the item and rotate it. I can rotate the camera, but I can only turn it this way. And I mean, from here to there, like there's another option for me that I want to use. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over to the right on camera controls. We're gonna click on our Sims 3 camera. We're gonna click on our item and we're gonna push our Alt key. And then we're gonna hold down the left button on our mouse. And now we have freehand 360 turning on the Sims. And then we just place it. We go back to our Sims 4 camera. And now we can even grab it and it's gonna stay in that position. We can hold our Alt key and we can freeform anywhere that we want to. Hold down Alt key, left trigger down on your mouse. You can flippy flopsy any direction you want to, switch back, and then we can put this wherever we want. If you need it in any form of direction with that item. So another thing that I personally like to use is the ability to make things bigger and smaller. We're gonna go over to our plants, because plants are something that I tend to find myself making bigger and making smaller. So to make an item bigger, you're gonna use your bracket key, and that is the one next to the backslash and the up and down slash, and that is what you're gonna use to make it bigger. The other bracket key is going to make it smaller. Now, it gets pretty small, but it gets pretty big as well, as you can see. And when you make it big and actually save it, you can actually see it from the Manage World sections. I don't think there's a stop to how big these items can get. There is a stop to how small it can get, but the big size, it's very, very very interesting. So let's try and get this back to a normal. I think that's about, is that the normal size of it? I believe it is the normal size. No, that is not the normal size. Sometimes you can't remember how big an item is. Okay, so we have our bracket keys, big and small, but we also have up and down. So our 9 key is gonna bring an item up. What I like about the up key is that you actually are still gonna see its shadow. So you can kind of tell that it's a little bit higher. And then our 0 key is going to bring it all the way back down to the ground. This key is very handy if you want to place something on a table that normally will not snap to a table, or maybe it does snap to a table, but you want it in a specific spot. So a little trick that I have done when I'm trying to place maybe something on an end table or any type of table. So this does snap to a grid. But say I want it in this weird position in between these two grids. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the table. If this is where I want the table, I'm going to move the table out of the way. I'm going to then place this item exactly where I presumably want it. Sometimes it can be a little tricky on where you might want the item. If you want to go ahead and rotate it, now's the time to rotate it. Maybe it's a specific position that you want to have it in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the table. I'm going to Alt tab this table. So let's move back to the right camera. Let's Alt tab, grab it, so that way we can put it wherever we like. And so now I can put it exactly where I want it on that table. And the Sims will actually most items, when you do this, the Sims don't think there's anything there, so they'll still put something, like put a plate or glass or something on that table. But this is how that you would do that. Now, let's say that you're trying to put it in a specific spot. I usually use my advantage points of trying to remember where my table is. So this could be a little tedious. You're gonna Alt Tab. You're gonna grab this item, Alt key. Now I know my table was in this area. This is where I was saying like that grid is gonna be very helpful for you to use it, because if you're like me, I like to know exactly where my item is, how far away from the wall I'm working with. So you may have to go back and forth a couple times to really see where that item is floating and where you want that item to go. So it can be a little tedious. Now there is a mod called Red Shelf if you don't want to do it this way. But some of us don't like using mods, or maybe you just like, I'm just gonna do it this way. This is the way that you can do it without mods. Like I said, it is a little bit more tedious, but it can get done if you're just not a person that likes to download mods. Items will still click to the squares, so if you want to snap something, you can still snap something to that spot. See, so something can still go there. It doesn't recognize that anything is there. You can use our move tools up and down as well with any other item and the Alt key. So with our Alt key, you can use windows to navigate the windows on anywhere on the drywall. Before, you could only use, of course, the snapping points, but now you can Alt key and you can drag and place that window anywhere on that drywall, and it's not going to have a weird glitch and a weird clink. And they have fixed that in game. This is what we had to do also before we had that ability and had that option. One thing that you have to be leery of, though, windows, they do not get bigger and get smaller correctly. So if you get bigger, you're gonna have actually an option of an open window. Now this can be tricky, but it can be useful. Say that you want an open window. If you make it small enough, you can make it to where your sim now has an open window. So there's an advantage to it and there's a disadvantage to it, that if you want to make some type of texture around this to make it look like the window is open, you can do that. But if you put another window there, it's pretty much just going to get rid of that hole. So I have seen people make a window smaller to make it look like a window is open or they have an opening. But it just depends on what you like. But just be wary that trying to upsize or downsize a window, it does not work as well unless you can make it smaller and actually hide the open window section. But when you save it in the gallery, it does pick it up, so that throws it off just a little bit. Another thing that I've noticed with the mirrors is that not all of them are free forming. So I'm holding down my Alt key and I cannot move it around. It stays on this line, but I can raise the window. When I raise the window, I still cannot Alt key and do that. But you can raise and lower, not the window. You can raise and lower the mirrors. This mirror only goes down so far. I can raise this one. I can lower that one so far. I can also resize, and it pretty much takes the glass out of the frame of the mirror, which I've never really needed to resize a mirror. But just to let you know that you can raise and lower mirrors, but you cannot freeform use them. If there is a specific situation where you want a mirror in a certain spot, and say you're building, what I do is I get rid of the walls. I hold my Alt key, I grab my mirror, and now I can do whatever I want with this mirror. But again, it's a situation to where you need to know where that placement is that you want to add, and be sure you're putting it in the right spot. So now we have to find Oh, see, we moved it out of the plane, so now we have to put it along. We need to re-grab it again and make sure it is along our dark line, not our spotted line, our dotted line. And then to say we wanted that a little bit lower, and then we can go ahead and build our wall back, and now it is in our wall. So again, if you grab it again though, it's gonna snap back. So we're going to get rid of this wall again. I always get rid of the surrounding walls simply because it'll snap to those. So I brought it a little bit in front of the white line so it's not going into the wall. Just a little bit in front of that white line. Let's say, oops. Let's say we want it right there for whatever reason. That's where we want it. And then we're gonna bring our wall back. And you just have to play with it for how far that you want it. Again, it's another tedious job that you just have to have the patience for. I have had many of hours of patience with mine. So that is why I do it. And now we have our mirror in a shorter section of what we would want. This trick is also very helpful with decorating refrigerators. So, you know, if you're a parent, you know what I mean. Your kids want to put pictures on the refrigerator and you want to have a space that's a little bit more live-inable. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get rid of all this stuff in our background because it is going to snap to it. Now, this is something that I normally do. I notice I do after a build because then I have the great idea to do it when I want to decorate on a house, in a kitchen. So we have this cork board. Say we want to use this as whatever, a smaller cork board. We're going to make this smaller. But now we want to put it on the refrigerator. As you can see with the wall there, we can't put it on the refrigerator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of X, Y, Z walls. The other one should be fine. Now I can hold my Alt key, click and drag it, and now I can put this in front of my refrigerator. Hold my 9 key, tap my 9 key to move it up. And now we're going to find a spot to put it to where it doesn't look like it's just floating, but it's actually attached to the refrigerator. Again, another tedious move. But I have done some pretty cool decorating of our refrigerator this way. It just takes a little bit of patience, and if you really want to make it look like your refrigerator is decorated. Now we can go to, oh, actually, one of these is usually really fun and cute to use. Now this one's a little bit bigger, but we're gonna go ahead and downsize it. This one might be a little too big. This one actually doesn't go any smaller. This one would probably be good to use when you have the one, oh, we can put it on the side. There we go. Say we're able to see the side view of the refrigerator. So we're gonna put this on the side, and now it looks like it's on the side. I will say this, that when you put things on the front of the refrigerator, when your sim opens the door, this will look like it's floating. It's not gonna move with the door, so just keep that in mind. If that doesn't bother you, then go for it. If it does, maybe go with something else. Okay, so we found some of our postcards here. These are usually the postcards that I use when I'm decorating any type of refrigerator. We'll just grab a few here. There was one that was like turned back. Actually, you can turn these backwards when there's no wall. So when there's no wall, you can take these off the wall and turn them backwards. So if maybe you want to show that side of the postcard. So I grabbed a couple things here. Remember, like I said, you can place them on the wall. They will snap, but then you need to get rid of a wall. We're going to hold down our Alt key, We're gonna pull it forward, try and get it to where when you place it, it's gonna look like it's on the refrigerator and not just floating, but it has to be in that just one good spot. And then we're gonna place it, and now it looks like we've placed it on the refrigerator. I grabbed this because I wanted to make it look like a magnet. We're gonna make it smaller, and again, I'm going to Alt key, grab it, and then we can flip it so it doesn't look like it's backwards. And then we're going to move it up, kind of look at our angles, and then of course I accidentally moved it, put it just in that right spot to where it's on the refrigerator but not floating. Alt key, grab another postcard, hit our 9 key to move it up, find that sweet spot, and we're gonna place our postcard. Pull this one up. Let's put it on this side. Put it a little bit lower, and there. What I like to do also is I like to take some of those kids' paintings, or the kids' pictures when they draw. Those are a perfect thing to put on your refrigerator, especially if you have kids, because you like to showcase your kids' work. And so that would be another good one. Even taking some of these posters, if you make them smaller, you can place them on your refrigerator just to give it a different kind of look and feel. Because who doesn't put pictures and magnets and stuff on the refrigerator? I forgot I had grabbed that. We're gonna get rid of those two since we're gonna put it on this side. We're gonna make this one a little bit smaller for the refrigerator. Take it on to the side. Use our 9 key and move it up. Move it up a little bit higher. Find the sweet spot, and now we have our dry erase board on our refrigerator. Draw our wall back, and now we have a decorated refrigerator to make our Sims kitchen look a little bit more livable. So those were actually some of the tips that I wanted to share for decorating. I said build, but after I started thinking, I was like, well, this is more of a decorating tip video. So sorry. I will make sure in the description, the title, it is specifically like hotkeys, cheats, and stuff for decorating in your Sims. If you would like to see a video on building and what little tricks and tips that I have for specifically building, let me know. But it is kind of a mixture of a building and decorating. So let me know down in the comments, what is the tip that I possibly forgotten? Maybe it's something I actually don't even do. And some of you may not even use these. It may be just something that you're just good with how the game is. Again, if you want to know all of the extra cheats and hotkeys, I do have a Google document. I will link it down below. It is a view only document, so if there's anything else that I know to add, I will add it in there. I do not have all of the cheats. There are probably 3 pages of cheats that you could actually use in The Sims, but I only listed the ones that I know I use on a daily basis, and a lot of Simmers that are in my community that are constantly looking for, and it's just put together so we can remember what they are, because some of the cheats, you can forget them, and some of the hotbar keys that are in the game. So let me know what you think. How do you like to play your Sims? And be sure to check out the live stream of The Sims and gameplay that we do there, along with other variety of games. So I want to thank you guys for stopping by, and this is Luna, Galaxy out.